Within each and every role player lives this homeless character who wants nothing more than to quiet the heartbeat of every living thing that stands in his way. Today we celebrate this all too familiar character with...
Well now, looky here. It's the Murder Hobo Show.
Savage Moweenus. I think that's the one that we want there. No? All right, welcome to the Murder Hobo RPG Show, proud member of the Tabletop RPG Network. This is episode 34, Get in the Magic Zone, recorded April 14th, 2021. I'm one of your hosts, Gary, a.k.a. the Murder Hobo, and I am here with none other than Uncle J, Raz, Captain Colin, better known as the Runny Bum Riffs Master, Raz. That's your new name. What do you...
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
Hey, they call me the frickin' morning flower on the frickin' Wild Eye podcast, so you're getting something equally as devastating.
We'll see. What did I ever do to you? Like, you and Eric, have been sparring back and forth for a couple of years, but then again, you and I have been kind of sparring back and forth. Yeah, I deserve it, and I'll think of a good name for you later. There,
I appreciate
Gary
that.
Grossenheimer.
You're gonna hit me on the way out with the friggin' sending the hate mail to the right?
Yeah, probably.
Excellent.
or not, or something might in the course of this might aggravate me a little bit more. You know how it goes.
Just wait till I get into the frickin' dragon juicer in his stupid Medica damage hands. That'll set you off.
Well, just Supernat. Well, we're gonna have a discussion, I guess, about that. I guess
this is a podcast about role playing games.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm. We like them all. As usual, we're going to filibuster our way through this in an attempt to sound like we know what we're talking about.
And we are an RPG entertainment podcast. And although you might occasionally be able to glimpse a nugget of truth or inspiration from our many years of gaming experience, we promise it will be unintentional. Also, please note that we stream this podcast live on Twitch and convert it to podcast audio format. You can check us out each Sunday or each second Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And that's 10 Eastern, and I think that is 5 o'clock Hawaiian time.
Is it 5 Hawaiian? Could be.
Yeah, it's 5. Well, it's 2 hours earlier than Pacific time, or because I say that because my brother's moving there in June.
Oh yeah, so. you gotta start remembering the times and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you a thing, Jay. You gotta go on call now this week or next week? Next week you're on call?
Oh no, I don't go on call until May 19th, so I'm good. I'm good for a while.
So our Wednesdays aren't going to flip again, eh? They're not going to rotate back in?
No, they shouldn't. Like our schedule, because right now, the way that it goes, we record when one of the higher ups on my team pick up the on-call rotation. And so, yeah, we're actually straight because I actually did some planning in advance and made sure it staggers that way. Now, if we add somebody to the team, that might change, but that's all right, though. We might just play sick or something one time and just play it off. You know how it goes.
Mm-hmm. You, sir, are a freaking genius. I'm pretty sure about that. All right.
Well, Now, I was about to say, well, you're no slouch yourself there, my man.
I try.
We give you a lot of we give you a lot of crap, but I think you're a pretty smart guy too.
It's all practice. It's just extra practice.
Just practice, making it look good. Having to pretend like being like you've been smart for a while.
Just fake it till you make it. That's another thing my dad told me.
Couldn't have said it better.
And my wife said the same thing. Just keep faking it. I don't know.
'Cause she has been.
Oh, that's what I meant. Did I say that wrong? Oh man, that's right. So tonight's show, we're going to continue our little riff stint. But first, we're gonna start off with our little custom RPG talk about skills tonight. I think. Yeah,
that sounds fun.
Yeah, what do you got going on, Jay? How's your game going? How's your Genesis? Are you still rolling the chicken bones?
Yeah, still playing some Star Wars. We actually played Star Wars 2 Fridays ago, and no combat. I wanted a no combat session. I wanted mostly, just a kind of like exploration and like kind of a chance to role play. And like the folks I play with, it's my niece and her boyfriend and her friend, and actually my other nephew, my oldest nephew, who doesn't usually play, but has started to play with us just because he doesn't have anything else to do. He's actually started playing Matthew's character, but now Matthew works weekends. So Brandon, my oldest nephew, he's been playing instead, and it's kind of funny watching him get into it because he's never really gotten into it like with the rest of us before. But the session, I just didn't want any combat because we always do combat or whatever, and I just told him, Revan, from Knights of the Old Republic is pretty much the Force Ghost, and he's trying to get some help to reestablish this Jedi temple to rehab some dark side folks. And so he had them going around and they had to fix up the temple. There was a lot of stuff that was broken around there. And so they had to fix all that up, and they did really well on the rolls and everything too. And they got all that stuff sorted out. And then they have to go find another holocron to restore the temple to its full, to its full power. There are actually 2 more that they have to restore. They got a clue to go down to this village to go find this other one. And my niece was just kind of like, she didn't know what to do in town. I just wanted to give him a chance to go, like, how you do, this is your chance to go in town, like explore and like go shop. I even set up a little place called Admiral. I have a little Mon Calamari figure standing behind a counter, and that's Admiral Snack Bar. You can go in there and go to see Admiral Snack Bar, and you go get some food.
That's right. In my ICRPG game, I got Jack Blacksmithy.
Yeah. So this is Admiral Snack Bar. You go in there and you can buy stuff from him. And so my niece was like, she didn't know what to do. She was like, oh, I don't know what to do. So I'm like, all right, I got to think fast here. So I said, all right, there's these little alien urchin kids that are hanging out, and the whole premise behind this village was before, it was dark side influence, and so like there was fights going on and everything. Like people who were friends before were starting to fight. And I played it up like the kids were getting the shit beat out of them by their parents or whatever. And so they were like hanging out in the street, like all being fucked up because they didn't want to go home. And so I started having these little kids like bug my niece, and they're like, hey, you look important. Can, sure be nice if we had a stim pack or something. We got a dog with 3 legs, and maybe that would help them. And so I start doing that the whole time, and my niece starts laughing. She starts laughing so hard she's crying. But I start doing the whole thing where these little urchin kids, and like the more you talk to them, like the worse off they became. Just like, oh god, like mom, we're hanging out here because dad's drunk and mom's been throwing cans at us, and just shit like. Just like keep piling on, and just had her just to make my niece laugh or whatever. But then I told them, they have to go to this place that's apparently haunted, quote unquote, and these little kids know how to get to them. And so after my niece gave them a stim pack, everybody was happy, and I told them that they found a little that these kids found something in the trash. Turned out to be a cred stick worth about 5,000 creds, and my niece was like, "Well, kid, they can buy more. They can buy a bunch of stim packs with that." And then the little kid's like, how's it gonna look, lady? We go to the store, we're like, hey, we're going to buy a stim pack, and we use this cred stick. They're gonna think we stole it, right? How's that gonna look? They're gonna throw it in jail. They'll throw kids in jail here, And so going on about that, just making her laugh more. So she's like, all right, I get the point. So I just try to get her just a little more engaged, just mainly just screw with her. But that's what we're going to turn it into, where these little urchin alien kids are following them around, like trying to show them where they got to go next. And so I want to see where that's going to go.
Nice. That's fantastic. I was playing my ICRPG campaign. The premise of my deal is they got kicked out of New Haven because this dragon, Vorgan Sherax, came in, basically, rode the whole town right over, burned the place down. But the green dragons have acid and shit. So, just basically acid fumed the whole place, killed everybody. So my party has been rescuing all the townsfolk and stuff like that, and they've pulled them out. They all sent them off to like Mole Master or some deal on this boat and whatnot, right? A couple months ago, 1 month went by, and they've been sort of evicted out of town because there's so many dragon cultists and stuff. So I set them up at the Grimshackle jail. And one of the players, one of my old players, Matt, who doesn't play with us anymore, he played this character Claw, and I've used Claw as a welcomer. And so, being that he's a welcomer, he's like a inside city street thief leader, kind of, you know what I mean? He transports information back and forth and stuff. And so he's down at the Grimshackles. And they get up one morning, and Claw's like, I got a mission for you guys. There's going to be a party coming out of New Haven that's heading up into the hills. They're going to come by here, and I need you guys to track them down and find out what they're going. what they're going to do. So I sent them on a bit of a recon mission. It lasted, I shit you not, about maybe 2 rounds of recon before it was like they're yelling at each other like they're at opposite ends of a fucking Walmart. One of them found this book and shit like that. There was this spirit lady, this ghost and this ghost like ghost mom and baby and stuff that was attacking them. And they're yelling at one another because there's 2 separate houses in this ruins. I play on TTS with my map. So at one end of the map, you got these 2 burnt down houses, little broken ass wheelbarrow cart looking thing, and some baby bones on the outside of it that I put, their little skeleton bones. So Vay's looking through the house, Mercy's looking through the house, and she goes upstairs and she finds this old crib, and the crib's rocking back and forth by itself. So she looks in it, she finds a rattle, and as soon as she touches the rattle, the ghost lady appears and starts screaming at her like, you killed my baby, kind of a thing, right? So she ends up going out, trying to find, every time the ghost lady attacks her, she gets this feeling, like I would just give her another word, like sacrifice, bury, like cemetery, and bury, and funeral, and blah, blah, blah. So she, I was trying to give her the idea that this baby was a sacrifice and needed to be buried in the cemetery, which is outside of the ruins that's on the other end of the map. But in the ruins is the party that they're supposed to be following. And so 3 rounds into it, you got one of them on one side yelling at the other person at the other house. They're like, hey, come over here and help. I'm like, so much for the recon mission. The wyvern that's sitting on top of the tower over there looks over like, Dart, what's going on? And he starts flying in. So I sent the wyvern after him and then a couple of the dragon cultists to fight him off, while the rest of the party that they were supposed to chase basically took off. But because they did it that way, I thought to myself, man, this is a good thing. So the party that they're trying to follow knows. So they were setting stuff up for him the rest of the way. The very next adventure took place at the base of the Tickleberry Hills, where they had to go Ticklebelly, not Tickleberry. They had to go through this little orc encampment and work their way up to the backside of the orc encampment into the hills to make it to the Dragonspine Mountains, where they were following these people. But I'm thinking to myself, you guys duffed it. So what I did was I had the orcs ready to go. They were waiting for them, right? Like they're on lookout, high alert, the whole 9 yards. And man, this next session that we played on Sunday was so good. They were rolling aces. They lit the place on fire, threw down distractions left, right, and center. Literally one shot like 3 of them with lucky shots. And basically snuck through the orc encampment. That was when I was having all the issues with my map sticking. But that was my ICRPG game on Sunday. So we got another session of that to do. I got another map. I just showed them the outside of it. I made it look like a mountain and stuff. So it's entirely 3D. The whole table is basically a mountaintop. And then it's just got a cave entrance at the one side. And I'll just knock off the pieces as we go through it. And they'll cruise down inside and swirl around into the crater at the bottom, because that's where they're going to this place called Cranon's Crater. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. I got my game on Sunday. We're going to do the Wild Eye podcast. And that's going to be my weekend.
Gotcha. Now, how much longer do you got in your ICRPG campaign?
I got one more session. Oh, no, let me rephrase that. One more adventure, because after this one, yeah, they're going to go through Cranon's Crater and find out some stuff, and they're going to take that information back to where they got to go. And then there's one more adventure that'll wrap up the first edition or the first season of, it's called Excursions or Expeditions.
Yeah.
So however long that takes, maybe 3-4 episodes, and then it's on to Savage Worlds. I've been building a couple of Savage Worlds deals inside of my Tabletop Simulator 2. In fact,
now, what are you going to run in the on the TTS there in the Savage Worlds?
I'm going to fire up my Tabletop Simulator. This might overwrite a bit of my stupid screen here, but I got a thing that I got to show you, Jay. I already actually showcased this live, but I think you'll get a kick out of this as soon as it loads up. I'm going to start with probably running some Deadlands because I'm familiar with it, but I think my next campaign is going to be full on Last Parsec. It's time to switch up the genre, get some space going on. But I'm building a pirate adventure for John Steve and the fam. Here we go. Starting to overrate my business, and I want to show you something here. I should have actually fired this up, but it'll just take a second anyway. And the beautiful part is John Steve can't see it, so only if you're watching this will you be able to see my cool thing. Let's blast over to my... I think I can kick this in. Create, single player. We want to go workshop. No, I don't want to go workshop. We're going to go to... Can you see it on the Twitch stream, Jay?
I can.
Let's go to my work table. This is my beautiful work table for everybody that's watching. My little 3D Murder Hobo Show deal. This is a cool thing that I've been working on for the last week or so. We're going to go here. Bust out the table. I got to set the mood, so we're going to hit nighttime, because nighttime's the right time, Jay. And Skull Hideout full. Give this a second to build. Then I think you're going to be pretty impressed with how cool this really is. Watch it all fail miserably and blow up on me.
Right.
It's one of the biggest maps. Well, not really one of the... It's the second, probably the second biggest map that I've built. Give it a second to load these parts up here. And then it says finish build. Okay, are you ready for this? I don't think you're ready for this.
I am. All right. I've braced myself.
Okay, here we go. I'm trying to sneak around to the one side of the table so that I can just get after it and go kabam. Here we go. I'll zoom out. Check that out.
Well, look at that.
Hey? Check it out. I put a couple of these things in the front here. They're, I don't know what you call them, little towers with torches and stuff like that. We got the water and shit rolling. A couple of little rowboats. And yeah, this is Skull Island Hideout, man. Now that I've set the mood and showed you the cool one, let me put it back to normal here so you can actually see it in the daylight. And that's what she looks like, my dude.
That looks like a good little piece you could use for 50 Fathoms, too.
Well, that's what I'm going to do for the old John Steve. Now, here, check this out. I want to show you. This is kind of, I want to show you.
Oh, you said Deadlands, but I guess this is for something else. Then.
Oh, I got a full other Savage Worlds one. Yeah, pretty sweet, eh?
Gotcha.
Let me show you this one here. Once
oh, yeah,
it
yeah, man. That's real cool.
And 200 and something. So, basically all I did was remove the front piece. These would be the eye sockets right here. And then you've got the lower levels. Now I can go right inside this bad boy over here. Show you a little pile of wood, some rope and stuff. There's some stairs up to the next level. But this is actually level 2. So level 2 of this place is a bar. And inside the bar, you can see I cut it out in such a fashion that you can actually see down to level 1 from the top level. But I put a little bar with some kegs and stuff. I got. I'll populate this with people too when I put it on my personal play table. I'll have little people and whatnot walking around. But it's essentially I set these things up so that I can just upload it to the workshop, and anybody can get their hands on these maps. And so yeah, this is the one that I was doing. Now there's a little door back here. I can click on this door and I can go state, pop the door open. We can take a peek inside. You can even see through the windows. Hey, pretty cool, my man. Once they go inside, I just delete this piece. And then, they'll meet the pirate captain guy back in here. If they do come out or search his room, they'll find that there's a secret door over here that leads to another room. If they start searching through this room, I'll just delete a couple of things, and they'll find a little trap door that goes down to the bottom. And then that trap door, when I load the first level, actually just goes into a little room back over behind this little wooden panel here. But I'll show you. Oh, my dog's getting after it here. I'll show you what level 1 looks like. So this is a 3-tiered Skull Island hideout that I built. And then this is level 1. So once they get past the dudes in the towers and stuff like that, this is how I'll probably start them off. But this is level 1. Check it out. We got some stairs up. We got a boat. We got a little guy sitting here with a catapult with a big arrow on it. I'll put a dude by this chair. So if they try and sneak in or whatever, there'll be a dude sitting here waiting. This door should not be here. It's only here because I changed the state. A little training grounds we got back here. But you notice how there's no door through here? And there's this little gray area. So if they come down through that little back door, kablam. There's the stairs, or the little ladder down that takes you into the secret room. And this is where I'll hide the MacGuffin. Right in here. That's what I've been working on, my dude. Hey, look, I got little fruits and vegetables, a little wash station. I could crank these things on, because I'm probably going to put them in here during nighttime, so we could throw some fire on there. We'll fade this back to night because they're going to be sneaking in under the cover of night. And then my barrels. So there's a barrel there. There's some fish hanging on a rope there, hanging on a string. Put this on state 3. Hey, pretty sweet. Pretty skookum. And that's my Skull Island hideout.
Very sweet, dude.
Now, on a scale of 1 to a million, how impressed are you right now? Gazillion, right?
Yeah, if you say so.
No,
no, well done. Well done. It's good stuff. I give you hell about it, man. But no, you spend a lot of time with it, man. You that's a lot of love you put in your stuff too, man. So well done, my man.
It's going to be a sweet 50 Fathoms game when I bust out the Skull Pirate hideout. Thing is I'm thinking that's going to be the starting point. I could make that, to really get some use out of it. That would be the starting point. The hangout where the pirates get together and swap treasure maps and stuff like that. All run by, the pirate captain kind of a guy. So, anyways, that's pretty sweet and pretty cool. And screw it, let's get out of here. Let's do. There's a little thing we want to talk about called skills and traits for RPGs because we're trying to build our own personal RPG. And then I think we're going to play it with each other and see how badly it sucks. What do you think?
Yeah, man, that works for me. I'm all about experimenting. About certain things.
I'm not touching that one with a 10-foot pole.
I left that out there for you to touch it, and there's another one you can touch too. So there you go.
Alrighty. All right, Jay. We're going to talk a little bit about skills and traits for RPGs today. That's what I'm thinking that we're going to do. Starting off with the one, not the only, but the most infamous one of all of them is going to be the Dungeons and Dragons bad boy. Attributes is what I'm going to call them all. So inside of Savage Worlds, you have attributes. Your attributes are going to be your basic skills, your strength, dexterity, all that kind of stuff. Or is that traits? Man, did I screw it up out of the gate?
Those are traits.
Right.
Yeah, traits are traits as far as Savage Worlds go. They that's kind of like their blanket term for skills and abilities.
Yeah. Generic coverall kind of a deal. So in the attributes
or
section,
attributes or whatever.
Yeah, we're going to talk about like the main ones, which are your strength, dexterity, intelligence, and stuff like that. Now, there's a really cool wiki article that I was looking up when I was sort of scooching through the different attributes and stuff like that. And it says Dungeons and Dragons uses 6 attributes. But did you know there was a brief attempt to add a 7th called comeliness? I think comeliness was like how sexually attractive you were.
Yeah, that's all from that old Unearthed Arcana stuff, and I think Dragon Magazine had like wanted to throw that out. But yeah, I always I always figured charisma was kind of factored into that, but I guess charisma is more personality than it's like how you look.
Yeah, you know what I mean. You could be like a sneaky kind of shady guy that's got a high charisma that can roll in there and sort of do some wheeling and dealing and stuff like that. That's how I always sort of looked at charisma, as well as your charisma is that and the way that you look. Do you know what I mean? Because it all blends into one. Most people, kick the hunchback in Notre Dame kind of a thing. They don't invite him into the house for tea. You know what I mean? I guess he's got some crappy comeliness, but it's kind of neat when I was reading this because I never really thought about it in these terms. But you really kind of have, they state it as physical and mental statistics. So as far as physical goes, you got strength, con, and dex, and mental is intelligence, wisdom, and charisma, and that's how they break it down. I'm thinking to myself, there should be one for fate, luck. Something along those lines. I don't know what you want to call it.
Well, the thing about it is, coming from a superhero standpoint or playing superhero games as much as I did, which are a little more flexible than straight up D&D, it was always, and I want to say too, the Shadowrun, it's been 20 plus years since I even looked at the Shadowrun book, so I even forgot. I just remember a lot of the core tenets, but I don't remember a lot of the a lot of the mechanics from it anymore. But I want to say that they had everything broken down into something like it was body, mind, and spirit. You had like these physical attributes that would be like your constitution, in Dungeons and Dragons parlance. Um, that you can throw strength into that mix too, and it's usually your dexterity. It's usually how fast you move. It's usually all your physical attributes. Just like they mentioned here in the wiki. And then there's the mental ones, and that's usually intelligence and whatnot. That's always kind of factored into it. But then they start talking about spirit too, and then like wisdom and charisma always factor a little more into that. They do a little more lumping in with like there's actually fewer actual mental stats that technical stats than there are like I guess um spirit stats. You know what I mean? Because wisdom and charisma kind of fold more into like your spirit than they do anything about your mind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. Different games use different ones. You've got your base 6 in D&D, but they kind of sort of all use the same things. It's just broken down into different variances. What do we got here? We got Traveler, uses strength, dexterity. They use endurance, intelligence, education, and social standing. I'm just thinking to myself, man, do you really think that this would fly? You know what I mean? If you tried to make a game that wasn't generic, you throw in something like social standing, and your social standing affected your ability to get things done, which I think is a cool idea, and I've heard good things about it in certain games. You roll your social standings. You come from a poor background or you come from a rich background, kind of a thing, and it can affect your ability to, your starting cash and things like that. But with the way cancel culture goes these days, social standing almost kind of sounds a little bit racist to me, if you know what I mean. Like somebody's going to say a thing about it, just like they would.
It's all perception, dude. It's all on how you. If you make it explicitly, then sure, people are going to say something about it. Well, that's the thing too. Like,
I was going to say that's comeliness, right? I'm pretty sure that's probably why they pulled it out. But it's really funny that they pulled out comeliness, but then left in, in the older editions and stuff like that, they left in the fact that you have like a reduced intelligence if you're a human and you have like a darker skin color, like that's the racism that they had in the D&D books and some of the older ones. You could be Arabian, or you could be black, or you could be whatever, and just the color of your skin would actually dictate racial bonuses. Race. I can't even say that right now. Racial bonuses. And that was the big problem that people had with the D&Ds and stuff like that. So I'm sure that's probably why they maybe took out comeliness. Either that, or they realized it's maybe not good to, have a bunch of kids playing.
Or then again, man, like how you got to think of it from a D&D standpoint, man. What do you do in D&D? You kill things and you get loot. It's pretty much the Diablo model. That's what you want to do. And at the end of the day, like people just want to kill shit and get loot. And so who cares about what somebody looks like? Well, they're not trying to socially engage with people in a lot of games.
I like to hit on a tavern wench here and there.
That's because you're different, because you want nuance, man. But like the baseline average D&D player doesn't give a shit like what somebody looks like. They just want to kill shit and get loot.
I think you need to get out and experience the world a little bit more. Your players have jaded you.
No. I mean, that's the general consensus you get from a lot of places. If you go out, I mean, like the people we play with, like, are very, very different in that senses. But like the baseline experience, man, you go into you have people who start off in this hobby. That's exactly what they're gonna go for. They treat it like a video game, and like, nah, dude, there's a lot more than that. This isn't Diablo. This is a lot different. This could be a lot more Game of Thrones if you let it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, to be honest, with all of the different indie games that are out, things like what's the GM-less one? Fiasco?
Yeah, that didn't really have it. Yeah, that's just all players. That didn't really have any a GM. Yeah.
So with all of these weird indie games and stuff that are coming out, I mean, weird to me, they're probably just regular to other people. Some people get into them and whatnot. I feel out of date. My idea of a role-playing game is when you sit down and you have stats and stuff like that. But Fiasco was a full different feel. Like everybody, there was nobody running the show. So
there's no stats either. It's just you just make up a character and you just make up a personality and you just run with it. There's not really any there. It's a statless, GMless game. And it's just like making up a story and like making up little story hooks. That's all it is. It's just like making up little story hooks. It's an improv game. It's not a role playing game.
yeah, I just feel like that's not my thing. I need a set
It's
of
a
rules.
fun little party thing, but I don't think I wouldn't want to do anything long term. And if you ask me, like, that I played Fiasco, other people there at Con Cobb know that I played Fiasco, but he asked me if I played Fiasco. I'm like, I don't remember anything about Fiasco.
I just remember watching you walk up the stairs. Luckily, that
Right.
spiral staircase.
I didn't biff it though.
Nope.
So second,
made it to the top. But yeah, I just think there's a lot of
professional
games.
drinking.
There's a lot of games out there that use, I think, a lot of different attributes, styles, and stuff, and then some of them maybe like break it down to 3. Firefly. I've never actually played Firefly, but apparently that's like the Cortex system uses 3: physical, mental, and social. And then storyteller system uses another kind of a deal. But this is one that I'm familiar with. And speaking of which, the Fallout series is out, and I gotta frickin' buy that book. I'm pissed off with Modifius right now because when I went to their website, apparently for £38 you can buy the book and get the PDF. The problem is, and I'm not sure because I haven't actually hit the buy button, but because it's in pounds, I'm sure that the book has to be shipped over from England, and shipping on that's going to be another $40 or $50. It's a 400-page book. Now, do they ship out of Canada or out of North America?
I don't know. I got like Dune 2D20 coming for supposed to be coming to me that I pre-ordered, and I don't think I paid a whole lot for shipping. I don't think I paid like $10, and if it does come from it wasn't terrible. If I remember correctly.
Yeah, I saw the pound sign and I'm like, man, if they got to ship this thing over, because I've shipped a lot of stuff to Harrison and Nick and them at the 3TRPG podcast and whatnot. And it's pricey, man. Like it can cost you $50 to send a small, little box of goodies and whatnot over there. So, but anyways, back to the Fallout. I was reading the Fallout one here, and Fallout uses an acronym called SPECIAL. They have the acronym stands for Strength, Perception, Endurance, Charisma, Intelligence, Agility, and Luck. Essentially, perception is wisdom, so it kind of uses all of the same ones. And endurance would be constitution, right? And so it's using all of the base ones, plus one that I really like, which is the luck. Because in a thing like luck, especially I've noticed in the last little while playing my ICRPG campaign, where I'm always trying to get my players to roll something so I can move on to the next one. When my players ask me if the door's open, I always think to myself, man, let's see what fate has to say. Odds or even kind of a thing, right? I would like to see a luck die. Something like that. There are dice that you can get that will, kind of be the luck die kind of a thing. But I think that's a thing that maybe I feel is not something that I use in game. Like a chance die is really what it would be. Do you know what I mean? You got any?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I'm trying to think of what they used luck for in Fallout in the video game. I think all it did was just enhance critical hits.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That wasn't cool.
Anything that had like a basic mechanic. It just like you were better at critting somebody. It just gave you a better chance to be able to do that.
Yeah, I need to come up with a cool acronym for my game is what I'm thinking. Because I really like the special one. In fact, I think I'm just going to steal it. It's got all of the stuff that I like, wisdom and perception. Maybe I could call it special instead of special, and then just replace perception with wisdom. But I do like the luck aspect of it, the chance, because when somebody says, they ask you a question like, is the door locked? Why not leave it up to chance and just see what happens? Let's see. Is it locked? Is it not locked?
Well, also too, like if you wanted to base it on, if you wanted to have a luck stat, if you wanted somebody just to be inherently more lucky, they kind of have that. They have that. That translates in Savage Worlds by having more bennies. To be lucky because there's luck and great luck as edges. in this sense too, if you wanted that to happen, it would be a viable. It would have to be like an honest to goodness skill that you're going to dump points into to make sure it's going to work for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You would have to get some definite bonus out of it. Otherwise, you're throwing points away. I find that a lot of times the questions that get asked in the Savage Worlds, wherever, like on the Facebooks and stuff like that, people are always trying to, jimmy a thing and skirt a thing and goof on a deal. Why can't we just do this? And then it really boils down to there's edges and hindrances in there that people will take that cost sort of points, air quotes around the points that they will try and take. And if you just like giving bennies away, here's the prime example. Can I give a player a benny? Well, there's an edge that you can take that will allow you to do that. And if somebody is invested in that edge, you're kind of screwing them for taking that by letting everybody do it, right? There's a lot of questions about stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you got to consider. Case in point too, like I'm playing in Eric's boomstick game, and my character, who's the manager of the band, is he has common bond, and we were playing, and Corey's like, I want to give a Benny to do this, and he was like, we can't do that. You don't have common bond. I said, well, I got common bond, so I can do that. So yeah, you like that's the thing too. You always have to consider. I have this is one thing that I really have a problem with. It's not so much a problem that I want to really make sure too that whenever I play with, I play mostly with my family and everything. So, especially too, they're going to love me one way or the other, so I can tell them whatever the fuck I want to. The big thing that I don't do is I want niche protection. I want every character to feel individual, like they have a role, and they feel like they have, they have a certain spotlight or something, or that they're good at something, and that they excel at one, that they're really good at in certain things in particular. And I don't want any bleed over from another character to do that. I don't want somebody, now granted, there's, you can have two people that are like good at combat, and that's fine, but one might be good at intimidation, one might be good at something else. But that's one thing I try to do, is not have like a whole lot of bleed over, with characters. And that's one thing, with a lot of, with going into these attributes, like all that stuff matters. If you really want everything to be defined, like you have to go in, you really have to go in there and make sure make sure that everything that you're working towards creates a niche protection for your players, so that way everybody feels like they're doing their job to the best of their ability, and that they really, this role that they're in, it's working for them and the party. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. There's been so many times when I've been running games for people, and the thief will go up and they'll try and pick the lock, and they don't succeed, and then the mage will be like, well, let me try. Can I try? How about fuck off? You're a mage. Use your knock spell, buddy. You got a spell that'll do that.
Yeah.
The barbarian's like, can I try? I'm like, dude, you got a big ass axe. Why don't you just start chopping the door down? Unfortunately, you're gonna have to try something else, because picking the lock isn't in your forte. I tell you something too. I want to run this by you. And happy birthday to Vay. We had an interesting
happy birthday.
Yeah, a little discussion about dexterity and picking locks and stuff like that, because I've been watching this guy, Joe, the lockpick lawyer on YouTube. You've probably seen his videos come up, but he shows you how to pick locks and stuff like that. And so I was saying, like, intelligence is kind of an underused stat. You basically just use it for casting spells, and it really doesn't get used too much in other things. Maybe a little bit of investigation and stuff like that. But dexterity gets used for a lot of things, from shooting bows to your acrobatics to your, like your a whole bunch of things, your tumbles and all of this stuff. But I don't feel that dexterity should be applied to picking a lock. I don't think that's a dexterous thing. I think that maybe back in the day, their locks were set up in such a way that you would have to feel it more than you would have to know. But I feel that intelligence should really dictate how well you can pick a lock, because it's more about knowing the lock, how the tumbler systems work, the interior mechanics of the lock and stuff like that. And I feel that really comes out with this Joe the lawyer guy. And then Faye's like, yeah, but it's all about feeling. And I'm like, I mean, I could stick my finger inside a lock and feel all sorts of stuff, super sensitive style. But if I don't know in my head what's going on inside that lock, doesn't matter how sensitive my fingertips are or how dexterous I am, I'm never getting in. I always, recently for some reason watching Joe the lockpicking lawyer, I'm like, buddy, I think lockpick should be an intelligence thing.
Well, let me ask you this: have you picked a lock before?
No.
Well, I have, because I have a lock picking kit. It's all feel. It's all 100% feel.
All right, moving
all
on.
100% feel. Don't like being wrong, do you, bitch? No, I'm just kidding.
Fine. I never picked a fucking lock before, so what do I know, right?
No, it's all feel. No, it's all feel, man. But no. Here's the thing, though. You got to be today in this day and age. It's not about an actual lock. It's about a security system, right?
Well, yeah. Most of the stuff we have nowadays is electronic and shit like that.
It's all electronics. Oh, yeah, it's about a security system. And so you can be the most dexterous motherfucker in the world, but if you don't know how to, rewire something or anything like that too, that's where intelligence comes into play.
Yeah. Well,
back in the day, the old timey lock. No, so I do agree with you in the sense though that old timey locks is all feel, but today's lock, it's more wires and like tripping alarm. You're more worried about tripping alarm or anything like that too.
Let me put this to you though. Do you think that dexterity is really about how sensitive your fingertips were? Like, do you think that if you have a higher dex, your fingertips are going to be more sensitive than mine? Because I'm pretty sure I could stick my finger or some tools in a lock and feel something.
Well, yeah, that's a little weird too, because it's like it's all feel, but like that doesn't really apply to dexterity. That's sort of just like a general sort of application. And also too, like whenever they use the thievery skill, or whenever they apply or they give dexterity to like to thieves, that also kind of implies like what is it? What do they call it? Legerdemain or whatever. All that sleight of hand shit and everything like that. Now that takes dexterity. Those motherfuckers who do that 3-card Monty shit, those guys are dexterous as hell. Like, they got to make sure that card, the right card disappears, and they got to drop that other one down. Not everybody can do that stuff. I can't do that shit.
See, this is why I like talking to you, Jake, because now I'm torn. Because here's the thing. My style of gameplay is simplicity, especially, playing ICRPG and stuff. And I don't want to separate lockpicking from thieving skills.
Right.
So I guess I'm going to have to throw it right back under dexterity and just say, suck it. You know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah, just, if you like, I'm the same way too. Like, I don't want to have a separate skill for anything too. Like thievery and Savage Worlds, sums it all up. And also at age too, it's a focus in dexterity, like if you're able to manipulate, like if you need to manipulate a security system, it's intelligence. But if you actually have to go in there and pick a lock with an actual lock pick and everything, then it's dexterity.
Yeah. So one of the cool things that I really liked about Savage Worlds when I first picked it up is that they did that right out of the gate before 5th edition. Maybe not before 5th edition, but I think even in 5th edition, man, I want to say 5th edition. I've played it so much, and for some reason, I haven't played it in like a year, and now I don't remember. I'm pretty sure that 5th edition just has one skill, like thievery, like you say. Everything is under thievery, but I know Savage Worlds did it for sure. And they throw everything underneath their thievery skills, so everything sort of gets pushed into that, and then that's like directly linked to your agility and stuff, so... Yeah,
even back in Deluxe, like lock picking, it was called the lock picking skill, but it was always like understood that, this was also used to break into a security system, pick a pocket, and everything like that. It was called lock picking, but it might as well have been called thievery. At least that was my understanding of it back when I played Deluxe.
This wiki for attributes is packed with some sweet information. So attributes are commonly referred to by a 3-letter abbreviation, STR, INT, etc., etc. There's a section here called hard statistics. Are those statistics which are generally physical in nature and often used to represent physical characteristics of a character. But it's kind of funny when you start reading them, like strength. So it might also mean body, might, brawn, power. And you see that used in different systems, which I always get a kick out of. Anytime you read a new system, they just don't want to say strength because, D&D's got it. So they always try and think of something else, right? Constitution, also known as stamina, endurance, vitality, recovery. Defense, also known as resistance, fortitude, resilience. And then dexterity, again, like Savage Worlds, a.k.a. agility. reflexes, or other systems use quickness. And then they've got soft statistics, which are statistics generally cognitive in nature. So you like to do with your brain and stuff like that. Intelligence, mind, knowledge. I've seen those before used. Charisma, presence, charm, social standing. Is that what that says? It says social.
Or just social. Or just social. You could fold social standing into it.
Yeah, and then so you've got wisdom, willpower, perception, your alertness, awareness, cautiousness, that kind of stuff. And then the last one they have in here is luck, aka or otherwise known as fate or chance. A measure of a character's luck. Luck might influence anything but mostly random items. Encounters and outstanding successes, failures. I would use luck basically if somebody asked me, and everybody has it. If it's just a question, is this thing here? Does this do this? Let's roll a dice and find out what happens. I'm kind of feeling that. So,
but you got to understand though, like as far as like luck goes, when you say that, when you want them to roll a dice, like if they have if they have a higher luck skill, they will there's a bigger chance they're going to succeed, right? It's not just like fuck it, we're going to roll it and see what happens, because then who cares what the luck stat is?
So I would premise it in like I talked about with the quick encounters. My problem with the quick encounters is usually people premise it like, tell me how you defeat the boss. Okay, so, you're setting it up to be a win situation right out of the gate. So I think what I would do in the same sort of vein with luck and fate, it'd be like, what do you want it to? Do you want it to be open or do you want it to be locked? And depending on what they say, then I would roll the luck, and if they had a greater luck score, it would affect whether or not they got the outcome they wanted as a player.
Yeah, I mean, I would make it more of a soft skill. I would make it more like a, if somebody wanted to say, or something, I would make more of like a what is it they call like a derived attribute, or something like if they have a spirit like half +2 like they do with Savage Worlds or something. I would do something like that and say, okay, your luck's a little bit greater, because of this, that, and the other. It's still kind of weird though to me that like, why would somebody ask if something's open or closed? I kind of don't get that, but then again, it's kind of weird.
You're in a room, you can hear noise on the other side of the door. Somebody walks up to the door, they have a listen, they reach for the door handle, and rather than just say, I pull the door open, maybe they ask, is the door open, or, I check to see if it's locked. Well, I guess at that point, I'd be like, do you want it to be open or do you want it to be locked? And then maybe ask. I don't know. I just feel like in the last couple of games, the last couple of months, there's been a lot of times when people have asked me a thing that it's not affected by any of their traits. It's purely a 50-50 kind of a thing. Does this do this sort of a deal? With that said, and our little goings over of the traits, what are you doing with yours, Jay? Do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
You can go ahead real quick.
Okay.
So I want to see what you're. Well, but I'm not going to copy you. I promise this time we're not going
to. I am going to choose the special. As soon as I read special, I thought to myself, man, that is it right there. It has basically everything I want because it throws in that little L for luck. Strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck. That is special. I'm going to steal that and switch it around somehow to work in my games. Now, see, here's the thing too, though. Are you going to have hindrances and edges? Because
or that kind of sort of like
right?
Mechanic.
In ICRPG, there's no skills. I mean, there are, but they're sort of unspoken. You can do anything you want.
They're soft skills. They do, they're not written or whatever. So, and everything's sort of like based on your modifier anyway. And that's another thing too, man. That's that always bugged me about D&D is you got to roll for your score, but the score invariably doesn't matter because it doesn't apply to anything. All that score there is for is to see how high your fucking modifier is.
Right. Yeah. And
it's useless.
You use the modifier. So, Well, yeah, I know. Once you initially roll them, they're fucking pointless. They mean nothing. You just apply
Yep,
that
they're, yeah.
modifier to the rest of your deals. So what about you? What are you doing? You
So
going?
I'm not a fan. So like I said, I'm not a fan of that. What I do like though is what they've done in Savage Worlds, like as far as like what they've done with Adventure Edition, is where you have these attributes, strength, smarts, agility, vigor, and spirit. You have these, and then you have these skills that are based off of that, right? That branch off. They're all kind of linked. Like driving is linked to agility, along with shooting and everything like that too. I like that idea that the skills are active. Like you have these skills that branch off of your main attributes that are linked to it. You get like the higher the attribute, the higher possibly that you'll be skilled. That your skill level will be. But also too, what I like about it, the skills are more. I like the idea that skills are the active component. That if you want to pick a lock, you need to roll your thievery. If you want to punch somebody in the face, you need to roll fighting. However, though, in Savage Worlds, you roll your attributes to resist something now, and I like that. Like, oh crap, the mind, this this mind flayer looking beast is going to, attack your brain. Roll smarts to see what happens. Oh crap, you stepped into radioactivity, quicksand. Roll some vigor -2. I
Now,
like that idea.
I feel like I need to remind you that, and because I know this is going to affect it, this was a thing that I was thinking about earlier. When we chose the kind of dice mechanic that we want to use, you chose the 3d6 age
3d6,
system
yeah.
with exploding dice. So the cool part about why I would use special, and I would still use the 3d6 and probably go up to the 18 and steal that from the D&Ds, maybe have different modifiers and stuff like that, and maybe not go up to 18. I'm going to have to do a little bit of math on that. But maybe what I would do is, because in D&D you have like 18 is a +3. You can go up to a 20 naturally, and maybe get
Actually,
a
18
+4.
+4.
Is it?
Yep.
I'm gonna look that up, Jay.
Look
Not
it
right
up.
now.
I bet you money.
Okay, so here's my gimmick. I'm thinking you roll 3d6, and if you get 4, 5, or 6, that is going to give you a +1. So if I'm rolling my strength and I roll my 3d6, I'm rolling any of them that land on 4, 5, or 6 is going to take my strength and give me one +1 or 2 or 3 into it. So I'm squeezing my mechanics together. You know what I mean, Vern?
No, I get you. Well, it's sort of like what they do in Age 2, and this is what I like as well, is everything is just based off your attribute. You're just based off these 9 attributes. Communication is their, that's sort of their charisma skill. Perception is perception. They have what is accuracy that you use for like ranged weapons, and fighting you use for like melee weapons. You have all that. You just roll that. If you want to punch somebody, you roll the fighting, or whatever. You want to climb a wall, you roll dexterity. However, though, if you have certain focuses, if you're particularly good at climbing walls, then you want to have dexterity climbing, and so you get a +2 to that roll. That's simple and easy too, man. I also enjoy that as well. I think, like, if you tie in everything to just like one roll, you talk about simplicity. Simplicity. God, I can't say the word. But you talk about that, and you talk about how ICRPG does it, and H falls in line with that. And so I'm with that too. That's also something I really like. Where a skill that you roll is just an attribute. And if you're a little better at, and if you're particularly focused in that, then you'll get like a +2 with it. Simple and easy. Know what I mean?
Yeah. So basically what I'm using is the special strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility. So I'm gonna have like D&D does, like my 7. Well, they have 6, but in mine I would have 7 because I'm throwing that luck deal on the end. I'll work that mechanic out later. Now, are you going with something along those lines, or you're just having skills and you're going to modify those skills?
What I would do in that sense, now that I think about it, I would go with 3. I would go with a 9 attribute system, and it would be like 3 body. It would be like dexterity, or I call it agility, or just nimbleness or something like that. It would be something. It would be something to do with your body. It would be either body strength, something, constitution, or whatever. It'd be three that have to do with that. So it'd be dexterity. To use D&D terms, it'd be dexterity, strength, and constitution. And then we would move into like the mind, sort of component. And so there would be like the mental component. We would use like intelligence or mind or something, something called that. And then I'd use something like presence and ego to represent. Or actually, let me see here. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's how I would have to break down. But I essentially try to break it down to where you would have. What was it? It was DC Heroes that did something like that. That was very similar. That I liked. I liked quite a bit. Where they had three.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, and so you're going to have 3 blocks, and each one of them, they're sort of going to cover a broad range of. No sound from Jay. I think I got to kick that one in right there. We'll see what she says here in a second. So you're going to start off with strength, dexterity, constitution. Constitution being your ability for your body to resist diseases and stuff like that. Mental would be your second one, which is going to be like your how wise you are, how intelligent you are, and then whatever third block.
Fold out like how much and then you would fold out like will, which would be your ability to like resist mental. Will would be sort of like the mental resistance aspect. And then you get into the personality. Then there would be like the spirit, or the spirit aspect, which would be like, it'd be like wisdom and ego and like personality or presence. That's what I would kind of go with at that sense.
And then and the echo is back. Oh. Maybe I got to turn off. No, you got to go out on 2.
Well, yeah. Well, just like I said, that's what you want to put. You want to put like things like personality, ego. In this case, it's like willpower is another one too. So I would put like the 3 things that I would put under spirit would be like presence for personality. I'd use something like presence or charisma. I would use something called that. I would use something like presence or personality. Ego, I would use for like. Like that's how much that's how strong it is, or something like that. And then like resolve or like willpower uses like the mental, or it's not the mental, but rather the sort of like the spiritual resistance.
Okay, gotcha. I think we got that. We got that nailed. Can you not hear me now? How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, moving on. Let me smash a button over here, Jay, and we'll get right onto it, because that's it for our trade section.
Yeah, I think we need to put a pin. I think we need to rename this one and go back to the Magic Zone next time.
All right, sounds good. Well, at least we got through the trade stuff, so that's pretty sweet.
That's awesome. Well, that's the thing too, man. It's a good topic to sit there and talk about. And truth be told, like it's not something we could really. We're not going to talk 15 minutes about it. I mean, we're long-winded bastards. We'll get into something.
Right. We really get frickin' cracking on that bad boy.
That's cool. That's what this is about. Because, me and you hanging out, man, and having these discussions and like trying to broaden our horizons or some other shit like that.
All right, here we go. Outro bedliner. I don't know why the echo is here. Hopefully the echo isn't too bad, but this episode might just fucking take a dump. Who knows? Where are we at here, my dude? That's it for this edition of the Murder Hobo RPG show. We hope you enjoyed it, and that's it. Now that's it for 2021. We actually just really started caring a little bit last week. I think it wasn't it, Jay?
Yeah, it was last week.
Yeah, we just started. Get your vaccination, you conspiracy thirsty freaks, so we can start conventions in person again.
Yes, indeed. So if you're interested in submitting to community questions, so you could otherwise poke fun at, you and not answer your questions honestly, you can do so at murderhoboshow@gmail.com. Otherwise, send your hate mail to what's a bad stat? Luck. That's all I had. I was gonna make fun of you. I didn't want to make fun of you.
Yeah, you got me, dude. You got me. You can also get us on Twitter at The Murder Hobo Show, on YouTube at The Murder Hobo Show, where I show you how to make three-dimensional battle maps for role-playing and tabletop simulator, among other stuff. You can watch me do this live on Twitch at The Murder Hobo Show, but be warned, there isn't a set time for the show. It's pretty random. And this is the part of the show where we ask you to go check out some of the content creating fellow network members. And today we're going to take a look at Remedies. And I forgot to put the frickin' the link up for Remedies. So I'm going to just do a second while Jay says a thing.
Hey, that's fine. Here, real quick, I want to give a shout out to our buddy Charles L. Sid. Inorganic steamer stream. I think it's Steam.
I think it's 3-piece steamer.
He's he's sending a whole bunch of Star Wars little Star Wars minis from the old Star Wars game that I used for those ones that I bought off eBay. He had some that were like just knocking around. Sent those to me, and man, they're fantastic. I got a whole bunch of stuff. Sent me a whole bunch of like stormtroopers and death troopers, man. It's fantastic. I want to say thanks, brother. I want to give you a nice little shout out for it.
Wow, spoiled, dude. Absolutely spoiled.
Full ass rotten.
That's freaking sweet. Remedies. Let's see, it says about here on the deal. So, Dungeon Master, wife, mom, former streamer, YouTuber and podcaster, D&D, MOBA, MMO, Pokemon, and esports lover, music addict, bookworm. Man, she got all the wannabe artist, geek, lovingly called the Queen of Derbs. She's on with Rob Toohey quite a bit. You can check her out just by looking that guy up. He builds a lot of things for Fantasy Grounds and whatnot, but yeah, she got her own little channel here. She does some dungeon mastering, and she does some things, and I think it was her birthday last week, so happy birthday to her too.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. All right, well, thanks for listening. Be sure to tune in next time. We're going to have another action-packed show where we talk about things we know little to nothing about. Sound professional doing it. Have a great weekend. We're out of here. Say goodbye, Jay.
Say goodbye, Jay.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.